short break. We had to go on to do some housekeeping in order to make the program more valuable. Yeah, we're talking about Japa syndrome and the young Lagosians, and we have Olusegun Odufua, Dr. Slicks. I don't want to forget that Dr. Slicks is a psychologist and performance coach. Okay, I didn't see that earlier. Performance coach.
Yeah.
We'll also talk about that. What does that mean? Okay, now let's go to the impact of this migration on a nation, on a nation like Nigeria, and on a city like Lagos that has over 22 million. I'm just trying to be on the safe side here. What great impact will mass migration that this Japa syndrome is now causing? What's, big impact does it have on a city like Lagos? I mean, is it just like throwing pin in an ocean?
No, not at all. It's having a great impact on a city like Lagos, even Nigeria at large, because we have more brain drain now. We have less,
especially in the medical health sector.
Yes, even for professionals, we realize that a lot of professionals are traveling, on a daily basis, and is affecting the system because the engineers, the doctors, the accountants, the quality is dropping, and unfortunately, but Lagos State will say it's trying, doing its best in terms of its educational reforms and all that. They're trying their best, but there's a bit of gap. There's a bit of gap because when you talk of people having experience, and that experience is not there, and a lot of them are leaving the system before you gather the younger ones to be able to bridge that gap. It's going to take a while, and so for Lagos it's really affecting the system because the quality is dropping, but with time we hope that a lot of young people can step up and be able to bridge that gap.
Oh, I thought you were going to say with time a lot of young people will say, oh, they're not going anywhere.
No.
So you don't think this trend will ever slow down?
No, it will if the government is willing.
Okay.
Because
when you say if the government is willing,
yes, so the government must be able to provide a stable society, a stable environment, a stable and meaningful environment. Because if you have, let's say in an organization, for instance, or let's use this station for an example, and you have your eggheads, your best brains relocating, and you have maybe few staffs still remaining, trying, maybe let's say average staffs, but what would be their compensation for staying? Now, for instance, the station now decide to say, okay, don't worry, we'll take you on training, we do some massive training abroad, Nigeria, just take them quality training, increase their pay, bonuses, entitlements, and so it makes them to confidently speak to their friends who have relocated and say, oh, what are you doing in that organization? And they're like, okay, do you know what? Do you know that I just got back from this kind of training? Do you know I just got back from this?
Or when you go there and you meet with them, I'm around for a training.
Exactly. So it tells them that, am I missing something? Things have really changed over here. I shouldn't have left. Do you understand? But if it's still same of same, then what kind of motivation do you want? So the next person who is staying behind will be planning the next trip. But if that I said is stable and meaningful, because it has to be meaningful, there must be something that is motivating me, that is inspiring me to stay.
To stay.
So if it's still, if I'm still living,
inspiring me right now.
if I'm still living in an uncertain situation,
okay,
I would just be dilly-dallying. If I get an opportunity tomorrow, I might just have to leave, because people will mock me. People will tell you that, okay, you decide you have this willingness to stay. Okay, you've stayed for another 2 years. You've stayed another 3 years. What has been the outcome? So the government must be willing it, fully, because you must be able to support organizations, support SMEs, young entrepreneurs. You must be able to invest in a whole lot of things. Infrastructure, education system. A lot of things has to change so that you are able to say that, okay, I'm staying because I know that things are better now, and so I can tell my counterparts abroad and say, I'm doing good. And you can look at the numbers, you can look at the figures and say, oh, you're really doing good. And so I'm not intimidated. If my friends come for holidays, I'm not intimidated. I'm even telling them that I'm going to host you. I'm going to take you out because I have enough to do that. Not that I'm also seeking help from you coming from abroad.
Okay, let's look at the human and psychological angle. You know, when we're talking about, you know, why some people live with their family and, you know, even when they get there, they'll say, oh, they're going because of their children. And these children, when they get there, you know, they get bored, you know, there's this culture shock and all of that, all of that. So what are the mental health implications to those who leave the country for another place?
So one of the mental health situation is, like, you know, like I said, loneliness. For you that, for instance, if you use Lagos as an example, you know, Lagos is, you know, always the hustle and bustle, you know, lifestyle, and suddenly you get to an environment that, for a country like Canada, for instance, you know, you're just like, you know, miles apart, you know, and you're just staying all alone. You're even working from home. You're not used to that. You're used to waking up 5 a.m., dressing up, your wife, you know, taking care of your clothes and all that, and you're like, oh, you're looking good, honey, and they go out, and you come back at night, and suddenly you have to stay with your wife for the whole 24 hours because she's in one room working on a system and you're in another room working on a system.
And she's not even taking care of you like she was.
Exactly. And it's like,
to do it yourself.
You know, go to the fridge
there's
and
there's no house help here.
Exactly. So, and you begin to look at, okay, in Nigeria, I used to be the boss. I used to be the king.
It's not only your head, that's the word.
I used to be the king, you know, they must take care of me. Oh, honey, your shoe is ready, your clothes is ready, this is ready. And suddenly you have to cook yourself and take care of things. And so suddenly, you know, that culture shock comes to, and like, oh, is this what I'm going to live with in the next how many years? I'm just 40, so I'm going to be here for another 30 years.
I'm living like an old man.
I beg. You know, that's when they start thinking of, I want to retire early, I want to go back to my country. You know,
they want to Japa.
Exactly. So all of those things happen sometimes. You know, and sometimes you when you travel and suddenly, you know, when expectations is not met, you assume that, well, when you get to this environment, you know, everything is just like, you know, just TikTok and things are just happening. And suddenly it's looking like, oh, it's tougher than I think. And if you're not careful, you know, you begin to get anxious and you begin to get nervous. And if you're not careful, it could lead to depression. Yes, it could lead to depression if you're not very careful. So a lot of things happen. And that's why I say that there's some people if you mistakenly call them, or they call you and you pick, the next 2 hours they're talking to you because they're like,
they don't stop.
I wonder, like, don't you have what to do? Because they just want to pour out their mind. You know, they're just really frustrated. A lot of things are not just really happening. So sometimes, you know, all of those things could happen. And sometimes also, a lot of people travel abroad without understanding that sometimes they have social anxiety. Somebody who has inferiority complex gets over there and is seeing, you know, a white man. Some people have not even mingled with, you know, foreigners before. And suddenly you have to be with foreigners and maybe a bit of racism, a bit of, you know, even just the way they look at you, and you begin to have a perception that,
a child who his parents had to bring back, because he was supposed to go for his A-levels. But that is not his first time of leaving the country. But he got into a school where they had majority of white children.
And he couldn't cope.
He just couldn't move from one spot for a whole term. So they had to bring him back.
Yes, even for adults. For adults, it happens to adults. You know, you've not been in an environment or in the same room where you have a lot of white people, and you know they're speaking, you know, and you're like, what are they saying?
Very fast.
They're wondering, like,
are they still speaking English?
Exactly, and sometimes you that's why I said, if you have inferiority complex right here, or you have a low self-esteem naturally, and you get there. And they're not even saying anything wrong. They're just talking to you. They're even trying to relate with you, but you're like, am I saying the right thing? Am I comporting myself? You now begin to question your own self. And suddenly, you begin to lose your identity. And you run into identity crisis. And if your care is not taken, you have that social anxiety, you withdraw. You begin to be shy. You're not even able to speak. You just be nodding your head, and you're just like, you know, at the end of the day, it becomes a problem for you because your coping mechanism, you know, will just be broken down. And so all of these things happen, and if you're not careful, you just think of relocating back to Nigeria.
Okay, for those who are still here, you know, who are striving to go, and, you know, it hasn't just clicked, it hasn't worked out for them, you know, what What is their mental health like also?
For those who are, those ones are even very worse. Because
They're worse?
Yes, because all their body makeup is to just
Japa.
leave the country. And so they are ready to sell everything. They're ready to try. And they are not even willing to try anything here anymore. Even, I've met with a few friends who, we had a discussion and they wanted to travel out. And I said, okay, yes, you want to travel out. But do you know that you can do ABC here? But they're just like adamant that no, yes, I'll do it, but it's only when I go out there. And they begin to give me statistics that, don't you see this guy? Oh, if I do this, I'll make this, I'll make. And I'm like, yes, it's all in your head. But it's not in reality. But I can show you what you can do here, and you make a lot of money. All you need to just do is be ready to do it. But so for those ones, they need, I tell some of them, you just need to seek help. You need to talk to somebody who, like a mentor, somebody who's able to guide you properly. Because I'm not saying traveling is bad, but a bed in hand is better than, the one that you don't even have it.
Or 1 million in the bush.
Exactly. So why don't you just look at your environment, carefully study it, and be able to identify what you can do, and do it for now. As you do it, you progress in it. And if the opportunity comes that you can leave, then you can leave. But if not, if you're comfortable here, just stay here and just do your thing.
Olusegun Odufuwa, Dr. Sleeks, a psychologist, performance coach, and we've been talking about Japa syndrome and the young Lagosians. He's not saying that you should not leave, but always weigh your options. Don't do it because everybody is going, because you don't know what you're going to meet over there. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll be right back after this short break.